guys, welcome to the first video, and as you guys know, these videos will be part of our fifth semester Medialogy VR development course, and I try to do my best to put one video up every week where we will go through the stuff we will be working physically in the class, but I would really like to make some videos for you guys if you miss the class or if there is something that you don't get in class. Stuff like that, you can go back to these videos and watch, so that everyone at the end of this class, and then at the end of watching all these videos, I want all of you to be able to, on your own hand, get an idea for a VR game and be able to create it yourselves. So that is my goal with these videos, and we will start one step at a time. Tomorrow, we will have these lectures on Friday, and you guys will get an HMD each. And I hope that we will have enough for as many of you as possible. Then we will start developing. Today, on Friday, and also today in this video, we're going to talk about how to set up your VR application, to be able to work with Unity and develop and run stuff on the head-mounted display, on the Oculus head-mounted display, as Butters here is wearing.
This is amazing! It's like I'm there!
And so let's start with what you need to be able to run VR. Well, first thing you need is, of course, a head-mounted display. Of course, you will get that tomorrow, I hope. I try to get as many as possible. I may be able to get one for every 3 of you in HMD. But let's see. If you don't get it, then you guys maybe can help us get some also, as we talked about. Also, you will need a USB cable to be able to connect this device to your computer. And USB-C, especially this USB-C 2.0, is awesome way to make your computer think that your Meta Quest is the same as like a computer-based VR application, VR HMD. You know, we talked about that the Quest is basically Android. It's got a Snapdragon 835 or something, so it's basically an Android smartphone, more or less. So you will build APK files to run applications on it usually, but if you put the link in it, your HMD will think that this is your computer will think that this is actually a classic head-mounted display like the Oculus Rift, the old ones. So yeah, a link cable, and then finally to be able to run stuff from your Unity, you will need a computer with a GPU, a graphic card, dedicated graphic card. And I think most of you have that. And if you don't, then of course there are workarounds. You can build APKs to test up your application to see if it works or not. So it's not the end of the world. If you don't have it, we can still work together, but it will be much easier if you have a computer with a dedicated graphic card. And the dedicated graphic card, I think, is from like stuff like GTX 1070 and up after that. Everything should work from there on. Then what you guys will need is, of course, Unity. Well, it says itself. And I know that most of you guys are already experienced working with Unity, so that is awesome. This will not be necessarily, this will not be a Unity class in that sense. And it will not be like a programming class just to learn basics of programming. I will, of course, explain everything I do and every single line of code we do and everything in Unity we do. I will try my best to explain as good as possible, and so that you know how to reuse it yourself for your own project. That is my goal, to enable you guys to reuse the stuff we do here for your own projects. And then you guys will also have to install the Oculus app on your computer, because we want your computer to think that your Meta Quest is a Oculus HMD. So we want your computer to think that this is the same as this, connected to your computer. And for that, in order for you to do that, you will need the Oculus app on your computer installed. And the way you will get it is simply by going I actually uploaded links to Moodle. So if you go to our Moodle page, so this is for the course, and then if I scroll down to today, you need the Oculus development tool. So if you press here, let me say a little bit bye-bye to myself. Here we go. So if you press here and download the Oculus app. So this is what you have to download. You have to create an account. You have to log into an account. And then with your MetaQuest, you will have to enable developer mode on it as well in order to build for it. And what you need to do that with is that you need to connect your MetaQuest with your smartphone. There's an app called Quest on your app store, whatever device you're using. Download that. It's very easy. It's very intuitive. You turn it on, it will tell you exactly what to do. You connect the app to your HMD, and then you go in. There is a setting menu. In there, you tell it, please put this in developer mode. And if you have any problems doing that, please don't hesitate to write or ask during class or write me. But yeah, this is the link. I will also put it in the description of this video here. But this is the link for the MetaQuest. And I also put the link because today, one thing we're going to do, that is why this class was called, I have these silly pictures in the beginning. Whoa. I call it Jazz Hands.
Jazz Hands.
Should have never taken him to see The Wiz.
The Broadway show or the movie?
Jazz Hands.
Both.
Jazz Hands.
Call it Jazz Hands because today we are going to do several things. First of all, we're going to set up your HMDs so that it can run on your computer, and we're going to install Unity Interaction Toolkit, and we're going to set it up in your Unity project. We're going to tell you how to install Unity in the correct way, how to install Unity Interaction Toolkit, how to install a Unity XR integration package also. And then we're going to show you how you can set up your head-mounted display in Unity so that it will track its position and orientation in 6 degrees of freedom. And once we've done that, you know, each time I take one of these on, the first thing I do is I look at my hands. Because it's amazing. That's the first step of immersion, when you can feel your hands inside virtual reality. I mean, when I wake up, I look at my hands. So anytime, like when I'm very drunk, I'm like, oh man, hands. So yeah, hands are awesome way to figure out, oh man, is this real or is this not real? So the first step of making a nice VR application is to have nice hand animations. And of course, I'm going to show you how to animate hands, and I'm going to show you how to write scripts to be able to control the hands using the controller today. So pressing different buttons that will activate different animations that you guys have made yourself. And I'm going to show you how to make animations so you guys can make your own creative animations if you want that. That being said, I'm not a great animator, so bear with me. But it will be fun, and we will animate hands, and then we will write scripts to control the hands. So yeah, that's why we call this Jazz Hands. And yeah, so to do the hands, we will need, let me get back there again. We will need Oculus hand models, and I have uploaded, because the Oculus hand models I have got from the Meta's old Oculus homepage. They have free hand models. You guys are very welcome to buy your 3D hand models, to take hand models from other places. Sometimes they even come with pre-made animations that makes your life easier. Or you're also very welcome to 3D model your own hand models. One thing we're not going to go through in this course will be how to make 3D models. So you guys can make your own. Yes. But yeah, I downloaded this, and because this one gives you an MB file, which is like a file you can open in programs like Maya. And Unity does not support MB, so I have converted them to FBX, I think. And then you can download, import them to your Unity project, and you can work with them. And I will show you how, and I will show you how to work with them, and how to set it up, and how to animate them in a second. So yeah, this is all you need, and I'm going to put a link to this. I'm going to upload my hands and put a link also here. And you can also access everything here on Moodle. All right. I think we have everything we need to get started with Project Jazz Hands. So let's start talking about downloading and installing Unity. Let's then start working with Unity and start developing. First thing we do is we open our Unity. We go into our install, and then you're gonna make sure that you have the latest LTS version installed. And if you don't know if you have the latest LTS version installed, you press the install editor up here, and the latest long-term support version will show up here. And the one that is recommended, that is the one you should make sure to install. And if you don't have it installed, make sure to press the install button. And once you press the install, let's try to do it anyways here, but I'm not going to install everything. You have to make sure that you have Android build support also in your installation. And if you don't have an environment like Microsoft Visual Studio, make sure you also have Microsoft Visual Studio. And then you decide if you have any of these language packs and so on. But these are essential to develop for the MetaQuest headset. Cool. But we are not going to do that. We are going to start a new project and try to build for our application. First of all, so we're going to create a new project. And that new project, make sure to change the editor version up here. If most of your projects are on an older version of Unity, it will automatically change it to that. So make sure to drop this down. For some reason, I have a non-LTS version installed on this machine also. And holy shit, I should clean out this machine. This is one of my old stationary computers. And I can see I have already the way back to 5.6 installed on this. Anyways, make sure to build a 2239, which is the latest LTS. And what we want is that we want to create a universal render pipeline project, a 3D project. There is also the option to create a VR core project that will give you all the templates, everything is made and ready for you to develop a VR scene. We don't want that because we want to, play around with everything Unity gives us to develop VR from scratch. So we are going to create something from scratch. And by scratch, I don't mean the programming thingy that Olga tried to teach you some time ago. All right, what should we call this project? We can call it first VR class, or we can call it Jazz Hands.
Well,
because we're going to work with hands. We're going to set up the HMD, and then we're going to work with hands, and then we're going to animate the hands. So Jazz Hands. That's a nice name. Okay, now we create the project, and as soon as it is ready, this machine may be a little bit slow. I got a RTX 2070 Ti, I think, and a E7 CPU, but still not the fastest anymore. It is opening, as you see. So we wait some time, and yeah. Jazz hands. We're klar. We are ready, I mean. Yes, perfect. Cool. So we have the project open, as you see, and this is Unity, and I don't have to explain Unity to you guys, but down here is where we have our assets. It's like folders on your computer. You have all your folders, all your files and stuff like that stored down here in the project. Up in the right over here is your hierarchy. So this is everything that you have in your scene, like the main camera, your lighting stuff, your 3D assets, your sound sources, all of that comes here. Everything that you have in the scene, you have a list over here that you can control. This is your scene that you can control using like the buttons, the mouse and keyboard and so on. And then what else? So over here we have like the, I'm pressing the other one. Or we have the inspector. So yeah. So we have the inspector over here that we can use to control some of this stuff. And shit, I removed this. That was not what I want. Perfect. Cool. So let's see, what do we have here? We have a scene that is for the universal render pipeline example scene. And we don't want that. So let's start by creating a new scene. Here you can do that by right-clicking. I started by going in my scene folder, right-click, create, and then come down here. Maybe I should remove my face from here. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. My face is removed. So we're gonna come down here, right click, create, and then we're gonna create a new scene. Here we go, and we're gonna call this jazz hands. May end up being called jazz hands all the way. And now we change to our jazz hand, and we don't need this sample scene anymore, so just let's delete this in order to make the project a little bit smaller. Not that it fills so much information. Now we are inside the jazz hand. And inside jazz hand we don't have anything. We only have a main camera and a directional light. That's it. And this is the directional light. And this is the main camera. We can press F to focus on the stuff in Unity. Anyways, now we are here. We need some Unity packages to start developing for virtual reality. And Unity have provided some very nice packages that are being updated frequently with new functionalities and stuff that I cannot even follow. And it's very nice. They are supporting this VR development a lot now, and giving us lots of tools so you don't have to, because I remember some of you in class mentioned that you could buy some plugins for Unity so that it will make the life easier for you to develop virtual reality, which is true, but I hope after this course you can develop, all of you can develop virtual reality without spending a penny for anything, except for 3D models and lighting. You're not going to work with 3D modeling at all in this course. This is only VR development. So we're going to go inside Package Manager, so press Windows, Package Manager over here. And we start by getting a list of all the packages you have in your project right now. What we want is a package that is not in our project right now. So we change this to packages in Unity registry. So these are all the packages that Unity is providing. Then we go all the way in the button, because X starts with, is one of the last letters in your Western alphabet. And then we press install. So we're going to install the XR interaction toolkit. Let's see how long this will take now. Shouldn't take long. And we have a quite new version from August 22, 2023. So it's only several months ago that they made a huge update here. Boop, boop, boop. And it's installing the package. And then it says that this project is using the new input system package, but the native platform is not using the new input, is not enabled, so it needs to restart to enable the Unity new input system. And Unity's new input system is also another amazing thing that Unity provided us with, so that we don't have to manually map buttons, controller buttons in our code. We can just use the Unity input system to say, if it's a joystick, use this. If it's a keyboard, use that. Whatever controller or VR controller and so on. I will show you, you will see it, and I assume most of you already have experience with it. And just try it out and get used to using it, because this is the best and easiest way to develop for button input. So we're going to press yes to the restart. So now it's going to restart our Unity. Let's see how long time that will take. I made changes in jazz hands. What changes did I make in jazz hands? I don't know. Don't think I made any changes in jazz hands. All right. Let's hope the restart will go effortlessly. It looks faster to open now. Oh, I think it's ready. It's ready. Hold on. Boom. There we go. Perfect. So now that project, the XR package is interaction toolkit package from Unity is installed. Perfect. We need one more thing. We need their starter assets. So go into samples and then press import under starter package, starter assets. We got some stuff we're gonna need when mapping the buttons, so that we don't have to do it manually. I'm gonna teach you to develop everything from scratch, but I'm gonna give you all the free shortcuts there are to make things faster. Because in the future, you get an idea, you wanna make a VR applications, you don't wanna pay for one of those tools that makes it easier for you to develop. With Unity's tools, you can just as easily develop quick demos for the projects. Then we want XR plugin management. And this is something that is necessary to run stuff on our VR headsets. So we're gonna install that as well. This is the second and final package we will need for now. Perfect. So now we have the interaction toolkit from Unity and the XR plugin manager from Unity. So now we can close these windows down. We can go into edit, into our project setting, because we want to tell our project that we are a VR project and not a regular project. And how do we do that? We can go, now we have this XR plugin manager down here, management. We go down here and then we use openXR. And what is openXR? openXR is a library that can be used to build for a variety of different HMDs, not just Oculus. If you pick Oculus here, it's just going to be Oculus we can develop for, but you may want to develop for the HTC Vive or a Windows HMD or whatever, and the openXR supports several different HMDs. So we're going to press that, and we're going to wait. Depending on your computer, there will be some waiting time. Installing packages. There we go. Come. Getting there, we are getting there, and we got there. We got some issues. It's like at least one interaction profile must be added. Please say like which controllers you will be testing against. Let's do that. But before we do that, let's go here into Android, because we're gonna build Android projects as well, because as I talked about, your head-mounted displays are basically Android device. They contain the Snapdragon 835, maybe wrong, don't remember exactly, but it's one of those processors that is inside smartphones such as the Samsung E20 or S20. I'm not a Samsung person, so I don't know my Samsungs, or some OnePlus flagship phones and so on. They have these processors. So this is your HMDs are basically a smartphone, so you will need to be able to develop in Android, and that's why we also put the Android when we installed and Android development environment when we installed Unity when we started here. Perfect. Now after you have checked openXR on both Android and PC, you go into openXR. We start with the PC, and then we're gonna give it some interaction profiles. So what are you guys going to work on? Well, you have the MetaQuest, so you're gonna work with, well, they still call it Oculus Touch controllers. So you're going to be working with the Oculus Touch controller. Some of you may work with the MetaQuest Pro Touch controllers. Some of you may work with the HP Reverb G2 controllers, HTC Vive controller, Microsoft Motion controller, and so on, or Valve Index controller. That is awesome controller. And we went through some of these controllers during the first lecture. But for now, since we know you're going to work with these two controllers, I'm just going to add these two. And over here, I'm going to do the same. Oculus Touch controller, and perhaps we're going to also make the MetaQuest Pro controller. That's it. So now several of the arrows have disappeared. Then interaction layer 31 should be set to teleport for teleportation locomotion. There's this magic button here. Press fixed, and it's gone. And finally, we need to switch to input system XR post control instead of the openXR input post control, which will be deprecated in the future. And one thing with Unity, and you guys who are experienced with Unity know that they deprecate stuff quickly unless you work in an LTS version of Unity, so long-term supported. But sometimes they still deprecate stuff. And this is going to be one of the things that's going to be deprecated in the future. So let's do what they say. Let's trust them and just press fix. Then magically they will do it themselves. So if you look over here behind me, down here, it's compiling the scripts and fixing this problem. And once that is done, we are done with setting up the project. Let's wait for it. This sound is not me farting. This is the sound of my neighbor drilling. Just saying. Otherwise, I would be proud if I could this long. Anyways, snap out of it. Yes. So now we should be able to develop for VR. So basically, if I press play here, so I put on this guy over here. So right now I can tell you what I see. Right now I see black. It needs to wake up. Put on a little bit of makeup. Anyways, there we go. So right now I see the menu of, you know, the Oculus menu, so there's nothing. When I press play, because we have set up our HMD, I see what you see. So I see exactly what the camera shows. Can I show this? Can I screenshot this? No. You see a blue, you know, blue stuff? Exactly. That it is showing basically what is up here. So that is perfect, but it's not really tracking the HMD. It's not doing anything. It just says, hey, I know that you told me I'm a VR project, so I'm gonna build whatever you are doing into the VR HMD that is connected to your computer. By the way, what is happening here is that it's starting the Oculus thing here. So the Oculus application on your Windows PC. And this is how the Oculus application looks like. And if I go under my device, I can see that I have batteries running out of power. So that's going to be fun to see if I can finish this code before my batteries die. And we'll have a break and then I have to get batteries. But anyways, so this is active. The HMD is connected, and the only problem is that my battery is low. Okay. And you can see all the other HMDs that you have ever had connected to this guy. One thing you have to do, some of you may have some issues with this thing not running, and I found out that it's very, very important that you go into setting after you connect to your HMD and set it up based on the instructions the Oculus app will provide. You have to go in openXR runtime and set your Oculus as active. So your Oculus is sitting there listening, waiting for openXR to give it some images and audio. And you have to do that by going to Setting, General, and openXR. And openXR runtime. Oh shit, I hope you guys are hearing me because I don't have a nice microphone. I use the Microsoft on my HMD to make these videos. Okay, I hope you could hear me. I'm going to repeat. Your Oculus may not work, so you have to press Setting, General, and then in openXR runtime, press Set Oculus as active here. All right? Cool. So far, so good. So this is now working, but you know, when I pressed play, I could not see anything. I mean, I could not see my HMD moving. So let's do something so we can track the orientation, rotation, and position of our HMD in the scene. And to better be able to see that, let's put some floor in there. So I'm going to right click on my hierarchy and create a 3D plane, and I will call it floor. Nice. And this floor, I mean, we can create some material for our floor. I'm going to make a material folder. Make sure that your project is always cleaned up. So I'm just going to create some basic material for the floor. What color should it have? I mean, I'm not gonna go delve much into it. So I'll give it some green-ish color, I guess. Oh shit, there we go. Assets, material, there we go. And you can just drag it here, or you can drag it here as soon as it goes inside the material here. Perfect. So now we have this. Still nothing will happen. But we can add a component. So I pressed my camera, my main camera, and I wanted to be able to track my position. And one of the things that Unity has given me is a component called the track post driver. And that one will track the device, which is my generic XR device. On my computer, it will be the HMD, the Oculus Quest S. Oh, it keeps giving me warnings that my battery is dying. Crap. Do I have other batteries? I may figure something out. Anyways, yeah. So if I now take on the HMD, I'm not going to touch these controllers right now. See that I cannot control that. You can see that it now tracks. Oh, there is a floor. It now tracks the. Oh, it doesn't track. So you can see over here that it tracks my rotation and orientation of the head. I think the problem is that we should reset the position of our floor. So I'm just going to press here, reset property, position. So it will set everything to 0, 0, 0. And my main camera is already not there also, so I'm going to go. Also reset its property to 0, 0, 0. And now if I press play, we should see also compared to our camera. See, now I'm in the middle of my floor. And as you see, we can beautifully rotate to look around. So far, so good. But we want more than that. We want hands, we want the ability to teleportation, locomotion, grabbing, all of that. And this track post driver, the only thing it gives us is the ability to track this HMD's sensor data. Oh, I have to see if this sound is terrible or not. Anyways, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna simply delete the camera, and after you install the Unity packages, you got a new thing called XR here. When you right click in your hierarchy and press that XR, and then press XR Origin VR. So now you have an XR rig in your scene, and that XR rig got it all. It got a main camera, it got a left controller, it got a right controller, whatever you need, it's got it. And what does its main camera have? Of course, among other stuff, it got the track post driver, which is what we needed. And it got so much other stuff to play around with. One of them is tracking origin mode. And we're gonna set it from floor, because your HMDs know where the floor is even when you set it up. Because your HMDs have 6 degrees of freedom compared to some of those crappy Samsung HMDs that only got 3 degrees of freedom. This one knows exactly where it is on X, Y, Z and pitch your roll axis, which is awesome. So now basically we still have what we had before. So, oh, but yeah, I forgot to reset this position, but we're going to do that in a bit. And we don't have the hands yet. The hands are not working. The hands are on the floor because we have to do something with the hands before they work. There is a left controller and right controller, but they don't know what to look for. And that is something we have to tell it. And if you guys remember, we went into Windows Package Manager and we installed some samples, some starter assets to get start development. Because our left controller got an XR controller, action-based XR controller that is sitting there and waiting for inputs from the Unity's new input system. And Unity new input system is listening for our controller's input. So we can fill it out, like what is the rotation action? What is the, for instance, select action? What button should it be? What is the select value? What button should it be? What is the action, like all of this, UI press action, what button should it be? We can go in here and manually assign all of this, but ain't nobody got time for that. And since we also downloaded all that beautiful stuff, the starter pack, we can simply over here press these 3 guys and XRI default left controller. And we are on left controller over here, we see. So we just press this one and then ta-da, it filled out all the information. We're gonna do the same for our right controller over here. Boom. Ta-da! It filled out all the information. So now if I press, let's just for the sake of it reset our position here. So now everything is in 0, 0, 0 as you see here. And now my hands, I should be able to do some kind of a jazz hands. Yeah, jazz hands. But as you see, the only thing we got here are these lines. And this is something they put in for reference for future. We can play for it in a future lecture to create like teleportation and stuff like that. But for today, we don't really need them. So let's just go ahead and remove the XR line renderer. Remove that component. Oh, okay. Rain tractor, goodbye. Rail renderer. Huh. XR line tracking line visuals. Where is that? This one. We're gonna remove this. We're gonna remove this, and we're gonna do the same on the other one because we want to start from scratch in this project. I mean, every lecture you should learn something. Today's focus is on hands and hands animations and hands button input. So we're gonna code some simple hands for you guys. Okay, so now if I play, I think I somehow broke it, so you should not have any lines or anything. But the hands are being tracked in the scene. See, the hands is being tracked, but there is no visuals. I mean, you can put whatever you want down here. So let's make a cube. And on the right hand, let's make another cube. Boom, and boom. And we're gonna just make it 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. maybe 0.01, 0.01, 0.01, and this one also 0.01, 0.01, 0.01. Perfect. So now if you look, it looks like a turban. My HMD, yeah. So now as you see, we have some cubes that we can control, but let's put our hands in here. Let's put our hands in here. Whoa. And where do I have my hands?
Alrighty, can someone give me a hand?
But, doctor, I thought the patient was getting the hand.
Speaking of hands, nurse, I'm...
Overplaying yours?
Well, I was gonna say putty in yours, my dear, but I'll have to hand it to you.
Keep your hands to yourself, doctor.
Can we have a show of hands? Who thinks this is getting out of hand?
God damn it! Can you please shut up and sew on my robot hand?
I have made the hands here. I have also put them here. But first, let's just create a folder here. We will call this folder our models. And this will be our 3D kind of models. And we're gonna download them here. So we have left hand, we have right hand. Perfect. Let's go ahead and remove those cubes we created. Boom, boom. And let's just drag the left controller here. Boom. And let's have a look at it. There it is. A beautiful, beautiful hand over here. And we're going to do some stuff to this hand in a second. But because we want to do a lot of stuff to one hand, I don't want to like make everything again for the right hand. So I'm just going to duplicate left hand, call it right hand, once we are done working with it, right? I can also just put right hand there. Doesn't matter really. But I mean, just for the sake of it, I'm going to make a left hand duplicate. So by pressing Control D, you can duplicate stuff. Right hand. Perfect. So now we have left hand, right hand. I'm going to write -1 here, and then ta-da! Now we have two beautiful hands. Let's check it out. Oh shit, this got sweaty. Oh, I got the hands, but as you see, my hands are like this. When I'm holding my controllers like this. Does it make sense? So I'm holding my controllers like this, but my hands is like this. This hand should be like this. So we need to make some adjustments to the model before we can continue here, so that it feels more natural. But see, now I do this, it doesn't feel natural at all. So we will have to make some rotations. Let's, yeah, maybe I should have actually done this. We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do rotation. So you see, x-axis is the front-facing axis, is the blue one. So we're gonna, I think, make a 90-degree rotation on the z-axis. Perfect. I mean, we could also just do a -90-degree rotation on the y-axis. Boom. Now let's press play and see what is happening here. Oh, this feels much better. And I feel like I'm touching my hands, gliding my hands together. Yes. See, now we have hands that react to our hands. That is awesome. But the problem is that I cannot make a fist or any other famous gestures you can make with your fingers. And that is what we are going to do. What we are going to do now is to animate our hand. So let's try that. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to check my phone for messages. I'm going to put my phone away. And let's try to animate our hand. And how do we animate our hand? That is a good question. Oh, let's animate our hand. I keep putting my controller down. Okay, how to do that? Well, our left hand will start by needing a animator. So we're gonna put an animator here, and as you see, the animator needs a controller, and the animator also needs an avatar. So let's start by creating an avatar, and that is easy to make because we already have the model of our hand. And if you go into rig, no avatar, we can press here, avatar definition, create from this model, and we press apply, boom. Now this is an avatar. So if you go here, you press here, we have an avatar for our scene, which is this left hand. And if you go over here, this one also got the left hand avatar, but it doesn't matter because we rotated it, so it will look still nice. Then we need an animation controller. We will create the animation controller in a second. First, we should create some animations for our animation controller to control. So I press the left hand, I press animation over here. And for those of you who don't have these windows open already, let's see, I can close this tab and you don't have it because usually it's not open. You go in Windows, Animation, Animation. And it opens on my other screen, so I'm going to pull it over here. And then you can, I personally prefer putting it down here. There you go. So now we have left hand. To begin animating left hand, create an animation clip. Okay, so we press create. And let's create the animation clip, call it idle. This is my idle animation for my left hand. Let's for now remove the right hand so we can focus on our left hand. By F you can focus on stuff and then you can zoom in and then you can have a look at your hand. This is our idle animation. And what do we want with our idle animation? We want nothing. Nothing should happen in our idle animation. So we have that. We want several animations. What we want to do is to create animation for when the grip button is pressed, and when the grip button is pressed we want to make a fist. Right now the only thing we have is jazz hands. But what we want is a fist by pressing the grip button, and then we want it to also, you know, look at the float value of the grip. So we're going to write some code afterwards that we look at the float value as I see how much the grip this button is pressed, because this can go from 0 to 1, and then it will close and open the hand depending on how much this is pressed. The same we want to do with this button over here. We want it to do this movement. And we wanted to do it, but again we will write some scripts afterwards that will look at how much this is pressed. So if it's half play press, it will go like this. If it's wholly pressed, it will go like this. And it will also react to how fast we pressed it and stuff like that. Cool. Let's animate. And I want to show you this because you guys can buy hands that are already animated and are much better animated than what we usually do. And I usually buy hands myself also, because I'm not a good animator, as you can see in a second here. I am seriously not a good animator or a 3D modeler. But I mean, I want to just give you the tools and show you how to do it, because some of you are probably super talented in making animations. So I will show you how to make, and some of you may already know how to make animations. But it's very important. Then you can create your own 3D hands, or whatever hands you want, what type of hands you want. You can develop that and you can animate it yourself, as long as you make sure to rig it nicely. The Oculus hand is already rigged, which is super nice. This is our idle hand. So with that, we're not going to do shit. So we're going to create a new clip. Idle is safe. We're going to use that for when no value, all the values are 0, so no button is pressed. Now let's make a fist animation. We press save. This is our fist animation. And in order to make animation, you have to press this record button here. This is the keyframe recording button. So once you press this, everything that you change in your 3D model will be stored in this keyframe. And for this animation, we will store everything on the first frame, because we're not going to make loops or anything. We're going to use something that I'll show you later, like a state machine we will create in a bit. So how do we move these fingers? Because right now I have all the hands taken. Just a quick note for Unity: if you hold Alt and press this bad boy, woof, it will open everything, which is actually not what I want. It's a bit messy, so I'm just want to actually open everything here. Perfect. Actually, I don't want that either. What do I want? I want this, yes. Here I get a nice overview of all the fingers, and then I can open everything under the fingers. Let's start making a fist. How do we make a fist? Well, first we start with the index finger. And as you see, now I have the index finger. Let's open everything under the index finger. And let's perhaps maybe start grabbing this, go into rotation here. And let's, whoa, so far away. Let's come over here. You know, by holding down Alt and dragging the mouse around, you can rotate it in your scene like this. So I want the fist to be a little bit like this. Maybe this one also a little bit like this, not too much. And maybe also the last one a little bit like this. So we got this, right? Perfect. So now we got this finger going on. So now we go to our pinky finger. As you may see, let's see what this one moves. Whoa, we don't want to maybe move it all the way, keeping all down, pressing this. Yes, gonna do this. Gonna do a little bit of this. And you guys can play more around with it and make a nicer animation. Gonna make a little bit of this. And I'm gonna take this top of the pinky and then also make it close. Perfect. And then I'm gonna take the ring finger. I'm gonna make a little bit of this. Then I'm gonna open it with holding Alt down. I'm gonna bring this bad boy down. And then I'm gonna bring this down. I'm gonna bring this one down. And oops, what did I do? Control Z. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing at this point. And also we want the thumb to be. I want the thumb to be also close. Where's the thumb? The thumb. Here's the thumb. Let's open the thumb. Oh shit. Control Z. Thumb should go this way. And it should go this way. And to all of those who say that Medialogy is not the best education in the world, I say this. Some of you may get creative and make a button that can create this nice animation from whatever you are. You can do that. You're very welcome to show it to the game jam. But I may try to fix this, and I may also cut this out from the final video. I couldn't help myself. Where was I? The middle finger, the famous middle finger. Let's do something about that middle finger. I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna put this down. I may need to bring everything down. Oh, this is a bit of a handicapped fist, but it is a fist nevertheless. I mean, again, you guys can probably make much nicer fists than I can. And I hope before you guys go home or finish this video, or during this video, you can make some super nice fist animations, nicer than my fist animations. This is a weird grab animation. I should call it grab actually, because it is using the grab button. Well, now we call it fist. Grab would be a better one. There we go. Is that cool? I mean, for me it's cool. It does like this. Could be a little bit more closed. But whatever. I mean, you guys can be creative. So this is the fist slash grab. Create a new one. Now we want to make this one. And for that we will write pinch. We will have grab, we will have pinch. So now it resets everything. We press record again. So how do we pinch? Pinch must be the index finger. I'm going to close all these guys here. I'm going to choose the index finger. The index finger needs to be a little bit closed. I'm going to open it here. Like this. Like this. And then what we want is to bring the thumb down to it. So I'm going to pull the thumb a little bit down. Am I? Ugh. Man, I'm not the creative type. Like this. Maybe a little bit like this. Does it look fisty or pinchy? It looks kind of pinchy, no? It's a little bit beautiful, no? Well, it is what it is. So now we have 3 animations in total, which is perfect. So now if we go into our project, in the models, oh shit, we put it in the models. Should not have put it in the models. I'm gonna take these 3 guys. Should always make sure to clean up your project. I'm gonna move them into my asset folder because I want to make a folder called animations. Whew, there we go. Animations, and we're gonna put all our animation inside that. Boom, there we go. Perfect. And for the sake of it, since it is a grab button, I'm gonna put the grab here. Cool. So grab, pinch, idle. Perfect. Now what we need is an animation controller for this guy. So let's create an animation controller. Here we go. Hand controller Boom, and this is our animation controller, and if you double click it, we come inside the animator here. And what we need to do here is we need to create a new blend tree, which is like a state machine. We'll get into that. It will look for values, and depending on those values, we will write some script in a second that will tell the animator to play different animations. But it will need to listen for several values. And since the buttons on the controller, they work with floats, so we're going to be creating two floats. We're going to create a grab float, not a grab float, but a grab float, and we're going to create a pinch float. There we go. And then we're going to go inside our blend tree here, and then inside the blend tree, our blend tree is going to be not a one-dimensional blend tree, but a two-dimensional freeform blend tree. And our blend tree will have several parameters. It will have the grab and the pinch, right? Then we will create some motion fills. So we're going to create 4 motion fills, because when you have 0, 1, you can have 4 versions. You can have 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, and 1, 1. So we're going to create one for each. So we're going to have 0, 0, 1, 0. Remember that was grab, yes, good. And we have 0, 1, and we have, no, 0, 1. Then we have 0, I'm pressing 2. And then we have 1, 1. There we go. And what we need to do is we need to put this controller here, hand controller. There we go. So now we also have it's a little bit weird because of the ground. So now we have our hand here. Perfect. Cool, cool, cool. Pinch, we put it to 0. For some reason it changed its value. And then it needs the animations here. And since we created some animations, 0, 0 is going to be our idle animation. So we drag and put the idle animation here. 1, 0 is going to be our grab animation. I'm going to put it here. 0, 1, okay, now I'm a little bit confused. Yes, it's going to be our grab animation. 0, 1 is going to be our pinch animation. And 1, 1, where the both buttons are pressed, well, we're also going to close the fist. So it's also going to be our closed animation. So now we can play around. See? Whoop, whoop, whoop. So it's going to do pinching, pinching, closing, closing. It, depending on how you move it around or how these values are changed, it will, in the end, change our animation. Cool. So far, so good. Now what we need to do is to write a script that will create these animations for us. But first, I need a short break. Okay, we had a nice short break and we are ready to go again. Oh, by we, I mean me. Nobody else is here. Cool. So let's continue. Now we are done with making the animation, creating our animator. Now we are going to write a script that will enable us to listen for the button presses on the Oculus controller, the Meta controller. The pinch press, depending on a float value from 0 to 1, will activate this animation. And the speed of it depends on how fast you press it. And then the grip button over here, we will listen for that using Unity input system as well. And then that will activate the fist animation. Yes, perfect. And then what we want to do is to create a script. And I hope I start getting some messages from my colleagues. No, I cannot talk now because I'm working on the video for the course, as you see, for the animation of the hands in virtual reality. So let's start to continue. So let's start writing the script. So before starting writing the script, it's always good to start making what do you call it? Making a folder here where you put all your scripts inside. There you go. This is the folder. And inside that, we're going to create our script to control the hand animation. And here it is, C# script. We call it hand animation controller. Boom. And now we wait for the script to be created. And then it is created, so I press on it. Boom, here it is. So this is a Unity script, and here we have all the libraries we have included, like the Unity Engine library. We have a start and an update. Start runs once, first time you start the program, only once. Update runs every second. And the check is quite expensive, but not as bad, not that bad, especially good for listening, for button presses and stuff like that. In start, we're not going to do anything. Actually, what we need to do is to include the new Unity input system here, because we're going to be listening for button presses on our VR controller. So I'm going to write Unity Engine input system here. So now we can access stuff from the new Unity input system. And by stuff, we're going to need two input action properties to listen for button presses on this bad boy here. So we're going to write one public. We're going to make them public so we can play with it. So public input action property, and we're going to make one for the pinch and make one for the grab. We're going to call this pinch animation. And we're going to make another one, public input action property, and we're going to call this grab animation. Cool. And then so these are going to listen for input from the controller using the new Unity input system, but we need to send this somewhere. Where, you ask? We are going to send this to our animator we just created. We're going to send a float value coming from the trigger button and a float value coming from the grab button. We're going to send them to the Unity animator so he can actually make the animation happen for us. So, but which animator? We need to make a reference to that animation that we're going to change. So we're going to make the public animator, and we're going to call it our hand animation. Perfect. So now let's start listening. And when we listen, we want to grab that value and put it somewhere that we can send on to our float. This can be done in many different ways. I prefer making a float. And that float, I want to have it my pinch v. It's for value, or my pinch value. My pinch value should be equal to, and then this is where we will listen for the pinch animation input from the Unity input system. Pinch animation action. Then we're going to be reading its value. It's going to be a float we're going to listen for here. Okay? Boom. And then this here will store its value inside our float called pinch value. And we're going to have another one. We're going to call that one, what we call this one? We call it grab. So we're going to call this grab value. And for that, we're going to have grab I forget names. Grab animation. Maybe not the best names. Naming is very important, by the way. Action, read value, and it's going to also be listening for a float. There we go. Okay, so far so good. Let's test if this is actually working. And we're going to do that by making a debug log, pinch value, and debug log prints to the console so we can see if stuff is working as they should. So let's see what pinch value is. Pinch value. Boom. And also we're going to do it for the debug log for our grab value. I don't know why I'm shouting grab. And there we go, and that is going to be grab value. There we go. So let's test this, see if the console see out anything and it's actually working or not. Okay, so I'm going to put this on my head again. All right, and it's the left controller I'm going to grab. My controller is now not working for some reason. Something should go wrong always. Let's see what's going on with Oculus. See, this is the beautiful thing about it. Where did I put Oculus? Here it is. It is connected. Everything is cool. Why it is not working, I don't know. My screen is kind of now. Let's try to press play again. Of course, nothing is in console. Oh, I get a notification something went wrong with your hardware. There's nothing wrong with my hardware. Oh, God damn it. You know, stuff like this will happen, or also will happen on Friday. What we can do is we can try to restart Oculus app.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Okay, I restart the computer and now it works. I mean, anytime you're in doubt if something is not working, just first try to restart. Then.
Hello, IT?
Something's wrong with my computer.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Panic. Restart apparently helped. Now my HMD is working again. So let's continue. So where did we left off before the HMD crash? We wrote this piece of code to see if we can get some feedback from the controller. We wrote this debug log. But right now, actually, we shouldn't get anything from it because if you press boom, 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 left hand here, first of all, we haven't added the script to the left hand. Let's start by adding the script to the left hand. There we go. So this is the component we just created. And we got a pinch animation and a grip animation action. So it's listening for the action that will activate the pinch animation, and we are listening for the action that should animate the grab and pinch animation. And which action? It's right now empty. It doesn't know which action you should listen to. It got so much. You can press the plus here and add binding of your choice. It could be many different things. But you remember we imported XR Development Toolkit starter asset when we installed it, the one from Unity. And they gave us some super nice references we just can't grab and use without wasting time finding the right ones. And we can find them here. So if you come here in the XR Interaction Toolkit, you have the starter asset here, and see what they gave us here. So I pressed the new input systems XR default actions, I think it's called default input actions. And as you see, they already gave us several very nice actions. For instance, for left hand interaction, we have select, activate, rotate, anchor, scale, so on. For now, we're just going to use the select and the activate. And specifically, we're going to use the select value because we want the value from 0 to 1 depending, so we can see how much you can pinch, open, and close your hand. And select value is the grip one. So that one is for the grab, for the fist. Is select. And activate value, that one is for the trigger. So that one is for this animation we are preparing. So by that knowledge, and now we can press our left hand. And for the pinch animation, we found out pinch animation, it was the activate, because activate was trigger. So we're going to go here and we're going to look for left activate value. So we're going to have the left hand interaction activate value, which is the nice interact. Oh, where'd they go? Yeah, which is this nice Unity input system that Unity gave us in the starter package. And we're going to do the same for grab, and grab was at the select value. So let's write left, let's search for left select value. And here we have it. Boom. Now we are listening for them, and of course we also created an animator. It doesn't right now know which animator it should affect, and we tell it to affect this animator. But as it is right now, we haven't written any code to control the animations. So if we press play here, nothing will happen. But what we have is, let's hope it works now, otherwise I have to make this again. Oh, it works, nice. So we have this, and we have the pinch and grab are 0. Now I press the pinch. See, pinch became 1 when I press it. And now let's press grab. Oh, now grab become 1 when pressing. So it works. We are getting values from our controller. Now we need to put these values into our animation, which is awesome. Let's just start this. Oh, it's lagging again for some reason. So now we can go ahead and delete our debugs. Let me move my controller a little bit further away. It's working again. Okay, so we're gonna remove the debug logs because we know we get the values now. Now we are going to assign our values to our animator. And how do we do that is we get the hand animation that we created up here, hand animation, and we're gonna say we need to set a float inside that hand animation. And we had 2 floats, one grab and one pinch. And here we have the pinch, so we say, I think it was with capital, so we say we want to change pinch, and pinch should be set to pinch value, which is what we have up there. There we go. This should change pinch. And over here we're gonna say hand animation, set float of this one, and I think we call it grab with capital G, and this one should be the grab value. Boom. There we go. Now the hour of truth. Let's see if it works. Have I saved? Yes, Control S. You have to always make sure to Control S your scripts. Otherwise, when you press play, nothing is working and you panic. What's going on? Let's see if that left controller is doing stuff now. And just do this so I can see what you guys are seeing. There we go. So now I'm gonna pinch to see if we actually get anything. Let's first pinch. Hey, look at this. It's a working, as the Italians would say. Very nice. And it follows the speed and the value. So if I push it halfway down, it go halfway down. I mean, you guys hopefully gonna make much nicer animation than I can. But this is like the basic of it. And then the grip. Way, this is the grip. Again, make nicer animations, but this is the nice grip float value we have here. Perfect. So everything seems to be working on this hand. Awesome. Now let's do it for our other hand, the right hand as well, before we run out of battery. The right hand got the hand controller animation as well, which is nice, but now we need to give it the script that we created, the hand animation controller script. It can be reused for both hands, so we're going to drag that one to the right hand, boom, and now it needs to have its input. This pinch was activate value and grab was select value, so we say use reference. Pinch was now it's going to be right activate value, this one, and this one is going to be right select value. Perfect. And the animator should be the right hand animator. Now we hope. Now we pray for it to work. Let's see. Left hand is working. And the right hand is working. Beautiful. There we go, guys. We have 2 hands animated now. We can and you guys are free to make any kind of animation you want, also with the other buttons using the Unity input system. Now you know how to make animations, how to make nice blend trees that will activate these different animations depending on different inputs. You could also make your input for the A or B button or the whatever you have on the controller. You don't have that many buttons on these controllers, but it is what it is. Yeah, thank you for staying here and watching this video, and I hope that you guys practice and master this hand animation and hands, because hands are very important in virtual reality. In the future we're going to talk about how we can grab stuff, different ways to grab, distance grab, normal grab, the physics of grabbing, and so on. And in future lecture, we're also going to talk about stuff like locomotion, using the controllers to move around in the scene, and so on. All of that in next week, and I hope you guys are ready and can make awesome VR Jam games together. I hope to upload another video next week, and then for now, I hope you guys use this video to practice making so far of application. See you guys at the university, and see you otherwise on the next video. Bye bye.